Hey there, GallusSapien. Hope I'm getting your name right there. Um, Not sure with the new format on YouTube how to respond directly to a video of somebody else's, so I'm gonna have to do this as indirect. Um, but you made several points um, that I actually don't entirely disagree with much of what you've said. But I don't think they. I don't think it really is relevant to what I was saying before, in the sense of disproving what I said. Um, and I don't entirely remember what you were responding to. Originally, I repeat myself quite a bit, so I think it was why atheist rebuttals fail. I think that's what you were responding to initially, but at any rate, you first talk about fairy rings, and I think um, what you had to say there was similar to the old God of the Gaps objection. And the important thing to note with respect to God of the Gaps is that um, nobody really seems to ever make that fallacy. Uh, People are charged with using God of the Gaps when they're really not using a God of the Gaps argument. Um, so the idea is we don't know the scientific explanation for something, so we plug God into the hole. Then as science advances, we discover that it's not God. Uh, that is not the argument that people, Christian apologists, are normally making. It's what people arguing against Christian apologists kind of put into their mouth. Um, but you say that the fairy circles were something that were previously believed to be the work of fairies. Then we had a scientific explanation, and we know that why naturally that happens. So it's possible you admit that there could be fairies who are using these natural processes, but by Occam's razor, we should eliminate that as a possibility because we're skeptical of the existence of fairies. Well, that is again true enough, um, but in the case of theistic evolution, um, the idea is that God is the one who is guiding evolution. So it's not um, you don't want to multiply entities beyond what is necessary, but you also don't want to oversimplify phenomena. Um, is We may have a good understanding of how different species arise in history uh, with genetics and mutations and natural selection and so on. But could we really have things evolving in just the way that they did? Um, there seems to be some kind of grand design, some goal towards which life is evolving. For example, um, the uh, uh, the first life was responsible. The first simple life that evolved had a different need uh, for oxygen, but now, but they gave off a lot of oxygen into our environment, which raised the oxygen level, and then once more advanced life evolved, needed more oxygen. That oxygen was there. Um, Other examples, human beings have a larger brain, but we need a larger brain. It seems to be more advanced in our behavior, having emotions and being able to do mathematics and that kind of thing. Those seem to be important aspects of humanity um, as humanity qua humanity. So that was something that the brain size, the cranial capacity to hold the brain, had to evolve um, to the current sizes. So it does seem like there's a guiding hand to evolution, and the idea of God working miracles. Normally, God works miracles in accord with uh, nature. It's not something beyond nature necessarily, but something that God is using nature to do. Uh, Fairies, though, are seen as being magical creatures who use magic to do pixie dust to do their effects, not using natural science. Then you, and I may not cover everything, I'm going to try to cover everything in your first response video, in one video. I took too long on the first one, though. You have a problem with going from the universe uh, beginning to God being the cause of the universe. Well, what could, what other possibilities are there? Um, there has to be some kind of being who is not part of the universe, therefore a transcendent being who is not made out of matter because matter began to exist with the universe. He's not in time because time began with the universe. Um, who created, so a transcendent, eternal creator of the universe. Uh, this is only what people have always called God. It may not be one particular God. It may, excuse me, it may be Allah instead of Jehovah, but that there is some type of transcendent creative being with great power uh, that is beyond dispute. If the universe was created by some sort of outside being, and it couldn't begin to exist uncaused. That which begins to exist must have a cause. That's something that's a metaphysically necessary truth. And uh, let's see. Uh, you said that the universe could be eternal, like as far as like being a singularity. Well, the um, the the Big Bang model is that the universe began to exist. So we can't say that there's something north of the North Pole, uh, but or something before the beginning of time. But again, I don't see what that's something that people commonly will say as they're objecting to the cosmological argument. But I don't really see how that is a relevant objection. It's true that you know you can't go further north than the North Pole. You can go earlier than the beginning, um, but that really doesn't seem to address the argument. Um, I guess those were your main problems in the first one, as I remember it, the first video response that you did. So I'll go on to the second video response now and comment on that. Thank you.